Okay, next question. Um, are there any plans to open source Bancor V2?
So it's fully open source currently.
Okay.
So and actually, this was an interesting part of Stefan's paper that he did, and so I'd love for him to chat. But when we were designing V2.1, we it was actually when the whole sushi swap incident was happening, and we saw firsthand how easily AMM protocol can just get forked. Um, and we believe that V2.1 is a little more resistant to forking. And Stefan, do you want to kind of jump in, because this was a sort of
Yeah,
key.
I mean the point is that for a protocol like Uniswap or Sushi, the value is, well, it's kind of in the code. Everyone can do the same thing, and if you have smart routing algorithms, essentially you should, they're all the same. There seems to be a little bit of a stickiness of people routing trades to one pool, but they really shouldn't be doing it, and certainly not with the low gas fees. Now, Bancor can publish the entire code. You can run Bancor, but if the value in Bancor is the community that provides impermanent loss insurance. And if you can't replicate this community, then you don't have Bancor. Yeah, you have the products, but without a Bancor community that is sitting behind there. It's like, look, if you're a big insurance company, yes, you can do all the same. You can build up another insurance company that has exactly the same contracts, everything the same, but you can't sell insurance contracts because you don't have the capital, you don't have the things in place. Just having people there, and you need the insurance
Okay,
network.
but but we've seen in DeFi where even communities can be stolen, right? When SushiSwap incentivized Uniswap LPs to migrate over by giving them tokens, they stole, I think, what, almost half of the liquidity.
Yeah, but the thing is, okay, but how did they do this? They gave them, so they stole the liquidity providers by giving them protocol tokens. But what are you going to give the protocol holders? Other protocol tokens? So yeah, you're trying to steal away the protocols, and then suddenly you have two protocol tokens. So you can't steal away a protocol token by giving other protocol tokens. So the only way that you can steal away Bancor, the only way that someone can make more money on this is by essentially having a system that earns more fees for the protocol providers, because you can't just, you could say, look, I give you, you come over here, you move your Bancor BNT token over there, and I give you more BNT. Well, you can't give them more BNT, but you can give them more token, but then you get dilution, and you just sort of get this, there's a limit to what you can do, yeah, because it's already a protocol token.
Okay, so to add on to that question that person asked, he's saying this is an important point since Bancor was already forked by Uniswap and lost market share. So basically he's saying how does V2 kind of defend itself from what's been happening? I think they're called what, liquidity attacks now, or zombie attacks?
Vampire attacks.
Yeah, vampire attacks, right? So how does V2 kind of protect Bancor to make sure that it really kind of stays at the top?
Well, you know, what we've addressed on in this call is that the nature of Uniswap's fork. I mean, let's say that's the original vampire attack. That was of, you know, that was replacing BNT with ETH, and actually putting Uniswap at a disadvantage, I think, in the long term. Because they can't manage liquidity and provide impermanent loss insurance or single asset exposure, which we're seeing are these key features for LPs using ETH. So for Uniswap to fork Bancor and offer the same LP features that are in Bancor V2.1, they would have to use Uni in each one of their pools and effectively rebuild the entire network around having a network token that's common in each pool.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So basically,
Stefan,
it's a difference in architecture that it's hard for them to kind of revert back.
You
to that.
can't, well, the architecture you can replicate, but you don't have the ecosystem. You need the people who are happy to have this token, who are happy to take this insurance risk. Yeah, and obviously if you get them, but what do you pay them with? This is always, you can't just, if you just give them tokens, you're paying them with their own money. These things work for a while because somehow it's the same thing like Tesla did a stock split, and then suddenly the market cap went up because somehow people didn't realize it's still the same company. There's absolutely no reason when you have a stock split that the company value should go up. For a real company, this is clear. For a token, this is somewhat less clear because there is no real company behind it. But ultimately, you need to make money, and the way to make money is to earn fees. Now you can incentivize people by give them protocol token, but whenever you give people protocol token, this means you take away from the old people who had protocol token. So that's a bit of a scheme that goes until it doesn't go anymore. Markets are a bit irrational in my view at the moment, but ultimately the way to gain in the business model like this is to have a sustainable, to build a sustainable business where that provides value to end customers, which in this case are, well, this is two-sided market. So the end customers are people who want to trade and people who want to get liquidity to work. And you allow both of them to earn money in the long run. And this is how you make money, as opposed to just giving free money away and then somehow things go up until they don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's just on a practical level, let's say someone came along and forked not only Bancor's code, but tried to fork the token community too, and said, we will give you more, we'll give more fees to BNT holders, or to, let's call them BNT2 holders. And we will, we'll give more to them, but you have to, it's sort of a seesaw mechanism. It's a zero-sum game between token holders and liquidity providers. If you
end customers, there's three groups there, yeah. Right. But the fees need to be coming from somewhere and going from somewhere. Everything else is finished at one point.
So basically, you guys are saying there's no free lunch, essentially.
Yeah, it's essentially, yeah. Not for it, but it's also obviously markets can be irrational longer than you can remain liquid. That's the other part of this, and we're at the moment a bit more in the irrational phase. But
listen,
yeah,
there's no free lunch, and this is a phrase that's often used by people that are like, impermanent loss is a natural outcome of AMMs. It is just, it happens. You can't solve it. You can't do anything about it. This is sort of the Uniswap camp tends to think this, but effectively, I would very much agree with that statement on an individual liquidity pool, that you have to be taking it out of someone's pocket in order to be subsidizing the cost. But when you spread this risk across many different liquidity pools, such that the volatile pools where there's more divergence, you might have a higher cost of insurance and higher impermanent loss. But in the more stable pools, those will be wildly profitable because you don't have that much loss, you have more fees. So the V2.1's ability to diversify impermanent loss risk and spread it across multiple pools is going to be super fascinating, and really may drive a stake through the heart of this argument that you can't do anything about impermanent loss. And so we're very excited, and early indications on the system, it's been live for about a month, but early findings in sort of protocol health is that fees are covering impermanent loss on a network-wide basis. And as the liquidity in the system goes up and it attracts more trades and more fees, we'll actually hopefully see a deflationary force on BNT, such that the fees are exceeding the cost of impermanent loss insurance. And that'll be a beautiful thing to watch.
Absolutely. Absolutely.